My first answer is religious freedom is something most of my liberal friends are no longer interested in. You know, it's a kind of a relic from the ancient past, from the founders. And I find that, as a supporter of religious liberty, I find that troubling that in the times in which we find ourselves now, where the spirit of the culture wars has sort of kicked over into politics that doesn't really have anything to do with religion or morality, as we thought of the culture wars questions, that being their home ground. As more and more politics has become about war and about sort of military metaphors, the procedural understanding of our republic, where we would safeguard these various liberties as we do in the First Amendment, has started to go away, and we evaluate things like religious liberty very much on the basis of what does this do with Indiana, where they're trying to undercut LGBTQ rights with religious exceptions. Well, we need to fight against religious liberty, as opposed to saying, well, here's a place where religious liberty might lead to an outcome that we don't support, but we know down the road it will be useful. So I think my main sense of religious liberty now is it's a kind of an endangered species.
It's an endangered species. Russell?
I think religious liberty is answering the question of whether or not the state is God. And so I come from a tradition where the colonial era, founding era Baptists were willing to stand up for religious freedom for everybody, not just for themselves, because they knew what it was to be persecuted, what it meant to be maligned and marginalized, and what it meant to have to pay a fee in order to get a license to preach. And they said, the issue isn't how much money we pay, the issue is who has the authority to ask for it. And so I think religious liberty is saying there is a limit to the state's power, and the human conscience is not subject to the state's power. And so that's, when we talk about religious liberty, it's one of the reasons why I will say to my non-religious friends, religious liberty ought to matter to you as well, whether or not you have any religious convictions at all, because a state that can pave over a religious conscience can do anything. And so that's what I think religious liberty is about.
So I'll answer with a story. First and foremost, I appreciate you guys allowing a modern Muslim on the stage. Apparently we're an endangered species. There's 6 of us left in existence, so I'm the bearded, circumcised unicorn of this panel. Thank you. Some people are like, is he really moderate? You won't know. And I'm going to answer, I'm going to answer your question with religious liberty, what it means to me through a story very quickly. Right now it's the month of Ramadan. I'm fasting, so I apologize for my Ramadan breath. I might kill Russell right now, and I'm living in America, born and raised in the United States of America, where I follow an Islamic calendar which is different from the Gregorian calendar. It's 11 days shorter, and I'm going to go to a mosque later on to open my fast at sunset, which is a constitutionally protected house of worship, or at least it was. But according to some people, Islam is not a religion, but it is a preeminent totalitarian threat to America, where Muslims follow Sharia, a legal, military, political doctrine that seeks to supplant the Constitution with Islamic law and make your children wear hijab and eat falafel. But I'm going to go to this mosque, and in the mosque I might find some people, a woman who wears a hijab, a woman who doesn't wear a hijab. Maybe it'll be the woman Samantha Aloof, who 2 years ago tried to apply for the job at Abercrombie & Fitch and was denied, and the Supreme Court in an 8-1 ruling said that Abercrombie & Fitch actually did not accommodate her religious practices. They ruled in her favor. She might be there at the mosque. A man with a half-inch beard who was a prisoner might be at the mosque as well, maybe Halt versus Hope. Supreme Court case 9-0, written by Alito, which said that the prison violated the free exercise of his religious beliefs by him keeping his half-inch beard. There'll be hipsters, there'll be immigrants, there'll be old people, maybe there'll be some refugees from Yemen and Libya and Somalia and Sudan and all these freaky countries. It's going to be Maghrib, sunset, we're going to be starving, we're going to eat halal meat. Yes, halal meat. We're going to eat halal guys. And halal guys actually fed a lot of people in DC and then took their truck and fed us. And a lot of people who are scared of Muslims love their halal meat. So reconcile that. And then we're going to pray to God, Allah, yes, in Arabic in Virginia. And after we pray, we're going to have a big tasty cake, maybe made by gay people for gay people. So it'll be Muslim gay cake. And then finally, since the last 5 days of Ramadan, we're going to try to figure out when to celebrate Eid. And if you put 10 Muslims in a room, you'll get 11 answers to when Eid is. And if you're in New York, and you go to a public school, some of these kids will be lucky enough to take school holiday off because they accommodate Eid. So that's what religious liberty means to me as an American Muslim in 2017 America.